Okay, thanks very much, Jim. So Jim's given you the headline figures, and you can see, and we did cover some of that yesterday, but shows looking backwards, obviously the deficit has improved. I thought I might be most useful if I concentrate some of my remarks on the lower payments side, and particularly the underspends and some of the other issues we're identifying with expiring measures as we're going through the budget process, because that's a looking forward problem. But certainly we've seen billions of dollars in underspends in terms of money that was promised for last financial year that didn't get out the door by our predecessors. We've seen that in the COVID-related program, so $2.8 billion from delays in contracting vaccines and PPE, delays in road and rail projects and associated payments of $3.5 billion, partly from disruptions to supply chains, skill shortages and capacity constraints, lower demand for health, NDIS and aged care services, which also combined to around $4.6 billion. We do expect that many of the underspend and payment delays which are reflected in this document, will flow over into next year, or this year and future years. So some of those include the infrastructure programs, some of the payments to flood-affected communities. There's $2 billion there. Some of those payments around purchases of PPE, rapid antigen tests for aged care facilities, $800 million there. Some of the delays in those modern manufacturing grants that were committed to but not paid under the former government, and some of the support for businesses impacted by lockdowns and funding which will be available in future years. So we are still working through all of the details in the budget around this, but these types of delays, we expect to see about $10 billion of those underspends, the budget, flow into the coming year. Obviously, there's still those long-term structural pressures that are on the budget. So one of those, obviously, is a higher cost of servicing government debt. We're seeing that have a significant impact on the forward estimates. So managing that is going to be a challenge. We've got the higher indexation flowing through because of the inflation figures, and also those key programs, NDIS, health, aged care and defence, presenting challenges going forward. I think you'll see in the budget some of the work that we're also trying to address around these expiring measures, which are a real problem. Many of the programs we're finding that are ongoing, and there is no doubt they are ongoing, but weren't funded to dress up in essentially the out years of the previous government's forward estimates, which we're going to have to address because they simply aren't expiring programs.